All right, here we go. We're about to finish the book of Acts chapter 18 and then get into Acts chapter 19, which I actually said just a few seconds ago to those of you who were not on the YouTube. All right, we are going to be in Acts chapter 18. And if you can hear, if you listen very carefully, you'll hear them hammering next door. They're putting up new siding. It's very exciting. Oh, it's exciting siding. All right, so let's get the screen share going. Here we go. Now, Paul was in Corinth, and the people weren't listening to him in the synagogue, so he went all the way across town, and then, no, he didn't. He went next door to Titus's house. And he was preaching there at Titus's house and just doing good work. And the work that he was doing was essentially preaching, and they were listening well, and they were bringing it into their mind so that they could be saved. God actually told them that would be the case, that there were many people who were his, and they were hearing, believed, and were baptized. So they didn't just get like magic belief juice. They were hearing and believe. And that's a really important thing to think about. You can't just say, well, I'll just take an energy drink and some faith drink and then I'll be fine for the day. No, it involves hearing and believing. It's this process of going in and thinking about it. And that's what we all need to be working on. That's what this Bible class is doing, really. And they increased in faith and hope and help. Then some of the Jewish people got angry about Paul, and they were trying to bring them before Gallio. But you see how Gallio is yelling? Paul didn't get a chance to talk because Gallio said, enough of this. This is stupid. So they decided to throw down their leader and beat him up because he didn't give them what they wanted. And we talked about that kind of a lesson. All right. So now we are going to pick up with verse 18 right after the beating. And Paul, having tarried after this, after what? What's the this?
The beating.
After the beating, yet many days. How long was he there before the beating happened?
A year and a half.
A year and a half.
Yeah.
So he's in Corinth for a year and a half plus many days. I don't know what that means. If it was months, it would have been, I think Luke would have said months. So probably just a few weeks or some days or a month. He took his leave of the brethren. So that means he's going to leave. And he sailed thence for Syria. And with him, Priscilla and Aquila. Oh, remember Priscilla and Aquila? Having shorn his head in Cenchrea, for he had a vow. All right, so here we have, he is setting sail with Aquila, and Aquila has hair like this, and he has an ear, and Priscilla also has a nose like her husband, but she has lipstick and earrings, which he does not. And that's one of the ways that you can tell them apart. The other fact is that her hair looks like she has honey buns on the top of her head. And they're always standing there holding hands because they're lovely people. And then Paul, what did Paul do? That's Priscilla and that's Aquila. What did Paul do? He shorned his head. What did he do?
Shaved his head.
He got a haircut. Now, the problem is I draw Paul with no hair on his head except because I draw him as bald. So I'm going to have to shave off his beard. So now he's going to look like this. You know, when a guy shaves off his beard, then their chin looks really small. So there's Paul. And let me give him a better smile. He's missing his beard.
That looks like a person.
You can draw
A lady.
the beard and then X him.
Right. And so you know who it is because there is the dots of where the beard is supposed to be. And so there's Paul. And good night. I don't know why I drew him like an egg. He's so huge here. So there's Paul. And there's his beard on the ground. He's shorn off his beard. He was all right.
We can't see it.
Oh, you can't see that. There it is. There it is. And it says that he was taking a vow. So there was some sort of promise, some sort of vow, maybe some sort of fasting involved. But he cut his hair in Cenchrea because he had a vow. And they came to Ephesus. Now we're about to do the map, okay? But I want to get all these cities in. He's going towards Syria, but first he gets a haircut or a shave at Cenchrea, and they stop at Ephesus. And he left them there. Who is the them?
Aquila and Priscilla.
Aquila and Priscilla. And so he left them there. And then he's going to go off and he's going to do some other things. But first, he's going to do a little bit in the synagogue. But before we do that, let us turn off this and get the maps, because we're got a lot of map drawing to do, right? All right. So Paul 2, this is the one we want. Nope, that's not the one we want. The one we want is this the one we want? Nope, I already did that one as the wrong one. All right, hold on. I'm not really good at this, am I? Is this the one we want? Sure, this looks like the one we want. This is the one we want. Okay, so he was in Corinth, and that's where the beating happened, and he's going to sail all the way to Syria. Okay, so Syria is all the way over here, but he's going to do some stops along the way. Now, Centuria is apparently really close to Corinth, and that's where he got his haircut. And then they go to Ephesus, which is across the Aegean Sea, and then he's going to keep sailing. So what we need to do is, here is the map, and I need to start drawing this on the board. So if you guys, I'll leave the map up like this, and then you'll see me back here drawing as well. Can you guys see the map okay?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so I'm going to save it like this and start drawing the map. I think maybe I'm going to have to actually do a little bit more detail this time than just rectangles. But don't worry, I'm not going to make it super detailed. Okay, so.
Please make it rectangle so I can draw better.
All right, I'll keep it pretty rectangularly. There and there. All right, and so then
Thank you.
comes up to that, and then this is where there's that little break. All right, how does that work out? We can go down like this, and then down to there, and there's a little hole there.
But you can eat it.
All right, that's pretty rectangularly. But the point
Yep.
is that there's a little bit of land here. And you can't see it very well yet, but we'll show that in a minute. And there's 2 dots. Oh, maybe I should do this. Okay. And then there's a bigger island down here, but you don't have to worry about that. I'll take that island off. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. I'm going to close off this now. All right, and then I'm going to bring up this so I can see that. All right, can you guys see my map here?
Yeah.
All right, so over here, right, this is the Nile down here, and then there's the Dead Sea and the Sea of Galilee, okay? All right, and remember where he had started off? Where's Paul's kind of like, not his hometown, but where's his home base? Where does he always seem to start to or go to?
Where the island like a hand.
Yeah, the hand points to it. It starts with an A. It's a city called
Antioch.
Antioch. And we're going to draw just an ant. And I can't remember how many legs an ant has, but there's Antioch. That's kind of his home base. And he is heading towards, he's leaving Corinth, which is one of the blue dots. And I'm going to write that Corinth. I don't know. Can you guys read the word Corinth there?
Okay.
You can. You're in the room with me. Let me erase it. And I'll do it over. There's 2 dots, but really only one of the dots is important for the story. And it's Corinth. And it's the upper dot, okay? So you guys can see that. He's in Corinth there. And this is where he gets his hair cut. That's the only reason we have that thing listed. And so then he's going to go over here. And I can't remember how far up it is here. But this is where the city of... let me write it bigger so you guys can see it better. Ephesus. Now, one of the other problems is that my handwriting gets a little bit sloppy on the board. Can you see that okay?
Yep.
Yep.
So he just goes doop to get to Centuria to get his haircut. And then he goes up here to Ephesus. Now we know that he's going to leave somebody in Ephesus. Who does he leave in Ephesus?
2 people.
Who are they?
Priscilla and Aquila.
Yeah, he's going to leave Priscilla and Aquila there. His goal is to get over here to Syria. Okay? All right. I think we got the map pretty well right now. Yeah, you guys can see that pretty well. Okay. So let's see what's going on. Okay. All right. He's going towards Syria, and he cuts his hair at Centuria. He gets to Ephesus. When he's at Ephesus, he's going to leave Aquila and Priscilla there. But where does Paul go and talk? He came and entered the synagogue, like he always does, right? And he reasoned with the Jews. Well, let's see what they do. And when they asked him to abide a longer time, he consented not. That's what. Yes, the Jews want him to stay, but he says no. Well, that's weird. Why would Paul not want to stay and preach? Any guesses?
They didn't really believe.
Maybe he really needed to move on to the next place.
Because Dad said in the Bible, he said, if the Lord wills, I may come back.
Okay, yep. Those are all basically kind of there. I don't think it's that they don't believe. It says, because I didn't really finish the sentence. It says, but taking his leave of them, he said, I will return again to you if the Lord will. So the idea is he is going to, remember how he's going to Syria? And it seems like he just kind of stopped in that city for a little bit. And they say, oh, this is great. Please stay longer. I can't. Maybe it had something to do with shaving off his beard and the vow and going back to Syria and all that kind of stuff. But he says, I will come back. So he sets sail. Ooh, we can draw a boat. He sets sail from Ephesus. And when he had landed at Caesarea, he went up and saluted the church and then went down to Antioch. Oh, remember how he always goes to Antioch? Yeah. All right. So now we got to figure out, well, where is Caesarea? He got in a boat and he goes to Caesarea, right? Here is Caesarea. So he starts way up here in Ephesus and he gets in his boat and he sails apparently in the most perfect straight line ever. Oh my goodness. And he lands at Caesarea, which is on the coast. Now, this map says that he went to Jerusalem. And even though the text doesn't say the words he went to Jerusalem, it does say that he saluted the church. So it could be that he saluted the church there in Caesarea, or it meant that he went to the church in Jerusalem. And then he went back to Antioch. So let's draw that on the board. Okay, so we need to draw Caesarea, which is a super long name, and I don't think it's just worth it to spell it out, but we'll put the letter C. And then he might have gone to Jerusalem. Actually, Jerusalem's down there.
You can put a question mark.
Yeah, we can put a question mark there. Good one, Jack. It's not that we don't know where the dot is. It's, did he go to Jerusalem? So, according to the map that I was looking at, Paul sailed in a boat in a very straight line. Oh, we haven't drawn a lot of pictures, so I'm going to draw a boat.
I thought of something else. Like instead of a question mark, you can put a dotted line.
Oh, dotted line?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a cool way of doing it too. All right, so there's this mast, and there he is, but don't draw a beard on him because he has no beard. And there's the sail, and there's the flaggy thing so that the sail looks cool. And there's the waters. And he's sailing. He's probably thinking, wow, these are big waves. I've never seen waves this big before. I'll never see waves this big ever again. Nope. All right, so he sails and sails all the way down to Caesarea. And then he either visits the church in Caesarea or he visits the church in Jerusalem. And then it says that he goes down to Antioch. Now here's a fun question. Is Antioch down?
No.
It's not, is it?
It's
So if he goes north to Antioch, why does it say that he went down?
because he.
Be going to a different Antioch?
No, that's a good guess.
Because Jerusalem or whatever is on a mountain. So he'd
Yeah.
actually be
And they
heading
wouldn't,
downhill.
and they also wouldn't put their maps like that.
Yeah, well, that's true. But the idea is they did think of north as north. The point is Jerusalem is in the mountains. And so you would go up to Jerusalem because it was really tall. And even if you came from this direction, or if you came from that direction, or if you came from this direction, it was always up. And so since Jerusalem was this tall, high mountain place, everything else was down. And so even though he went north to Antioch, it was like going downhill. And so you'll see that a lot in the Bible, how they went down, going up. It's kind of funny. All right.
I think there's a similar situation in Egypt, like the water runs
Water runs
but they
north.
call it south or something.
Yeah, the Nile runs north, and it seems
Yeah,
like that's
like-
the wrong
Yeah,
direction.
Upper Egypt is south.
Yeah, Upper Egypt is south. Upper Egypt is south because it's higher up in elevation. Yeah, there's a lot of people do funny things. Okay, so here is something really interesting. Have you heard of the phrase Paul's missionary trips? Paul's
journeys,
trips,
yeah.
or
Yeah.
his journeys. So this is number 2 that we've been talking about. And whenever he gets to Antioch, that's when it's done. So guess what? He just finished journey number 2. He just finished trip number 2. He just did his second trip. And if you look at verse 23, we'll realize it's right in the middle of a paragraph. So we got to figure out what's going on. Okay. So he went to Caesarea and he went up and saluted the church, possibly in Jerusalem. Here, I'll draw Paul saluting. There's his hand. And he's got a stern look on his face. Salute, but don't forget he has a small chin now. And he is saluting the church. Hi-ho! And his arm is down straight because he's saluting. There we go. All right. And you can draw the dots of where his beard should be. Okay. And having spent some time there, he departed and went through the region of Galatia and Phrygia in order, establishing the disciples. We have more places to talk about. Good grief, so many. All right, now we're going to talk about trip number 3. He starts here in Antioch and he goes to Galatia and Phrygia. So he's going back through these places. Remember Derbe and Lystra and Iconium and Antioch, and then there's Phrygia. So that means this is trip number, where's purple? Here we go. This is the ending of trip number 2. But guess what he's about to start? Trip number 3. And he goes to the churches here, and I'm going to draw a ziggy-zaggy line like he's visiting these churches and he's traveling through, okay? And he's visiting those churches that he had been to earlier. Remember how he had picked up Timothy earlier in this trip, things like that. And so he is just going all the way across the Mediterranean Sea. And we're getting a lot of map work today. All right. Let's go back to reading. Now, a certain Jew named Apollos, let's see, an Alexandrian by race. Okay, let's see if we can find Alexandria on the map. Do you know where Alexandria is?
It's in Egypt.
It's in Egypt, down there to the left of the Nile River. It's a very important old city. So we'll just put Alex. Instead of the whole Alexandria, we'll just write Alex. And who came from Alex? Who came from Alexandria? It mentioned his name is Apollos. So I'm going to draw a line. Well, you can't even see that line. This is terrible. Come on.
I
That
can-
line? Yeah,
yeah.
you can see that line. And so there he is, and he's coming up to Ephesus. That's where we're going to find out about him.
Oh.
Okay. He's from Alexandria. He's a learned man. What does it mean he's learned?
He knows a lot.
He's
It means
well
he's smart.
educated.
He knows a lot of things.
He's smart. He's well educated. And he came to Ephesus, and he was mighty in the scriptures. What does that mean?
Knows a lot about the scriptures. Or
Yeah.
is really good in the scriptures.
All right. So let's see. He's going to have a tiny button nose and tall eyes and broom mustache and a smile. And I'm going to have him, he's got muscles in his arms. Right? He's got big muscle arms of the scriptures. And so then I'm going to draw like he has a Bible tattoo. Okay. Cha-ching! He's mighty in the scriptures. I don't know if he actually had a Bible tattoo, and I don't really think he had big arms like this, but you get the idea. But he always skipped leg day. All right. He was mighty in the scriptures. This man had been instructed in the way of the Lord. In the New Testament, especially in Acts, the way of the Lord is talking about Jesus. So he does know about Jesus, okay? Being fervent in spirit, he spoke and taught carefully all the things concerning Jesus, knowing only the baptism of John. Wait a minute. He knows and loves Jesus, but he only knows the baptism of John? What does that mean? He loves Jesus, but he only knows about the baptism of John. What do you think that means?
He really loves Jesus, but he doesn't know anything about the Bible except for the baptism of John.
Okay. Was Jesus
Maybe he
baptized?
wants.
Jesus was baptized by John, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But after Jesus was raised from the dead, did he tell all the disciples, go baptize people in the name of John?
No.
What did he tell people to do? What did the apostles teach? Baptizing
About
in
Jesus.
the name of Jesus and in the Father and the Spirit. So it sounds like Apollos is a really smart guy and he really loves Jesus, but does he know everything? Nope.
No.
He's missing some bits. Does that mean that Apollos is a terrible, horrible, bad guy?
No.
No, he just doesn't know everything. Okay. Do you know everything? I don't.
No.
No.
All right, let's see what
No.
happens. Oh, maybe Apollos should have an ear. There's his head. All right. And
Of course he does have ears.
Apollos, there he is. And he began to speak boldly in the synagogue. Is he speaking about the baptism of John? Probably. Do you think he's speaking about the death and resurrection of Jesus? Maybe not, right? Maybe he didn't know about that. Let's see. But when Priscilla and Aquila heard him, they took him unto them and expounded unto him the way of God more carefully. Let's think about that. This is fancy old-fashioned language. Tell me if you can figure out what it means in your own words. They expounded unto him the way of God more carefully. What does that mean?
I think it means they
You mean-
explained and told him more about it.
It means they taught him more of the Bible.
Yeah, it's like they explained all the other parts, right?
That's what I thought.
Yeah, good job. You guys figured it out. So let's draw Priscilla and Aquila. And actually, here's the question. I drew them smiling because I've been drawing them smiling. Do you think they were smiling?
Not really.
What do you think they were doing when they pulled him aside? Do you think they said, Apollos, you're the worst person I've ever met in my life?
No.
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 But did they let him teach wrong things?
No.
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 So what they had to do, 1, 2, 3, 4, there's all their legs. What they had to do was teach him the truth and not think that he's a bad guy. Is that doable?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Here's his open hands. Like he is, well, here's the question. Do you think that Apollos is going to listen?
Yes.
Can you imagine someone who's well-educated and full of brains refusing to listen to a couple of tent makers? I went to
Yeah.
university. You guys are just tent makers. Could you imagine that happening?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Let's see what Apollos does. And when he was minded to pass over into Achaia, the brethren encouraged him and wrote to the disciples to receive him. And when he was come, he helped them much with which had believed through grace, for he powerfully confuted the Jews, and that publicly showing this by the scriptures that Jesus was the Christ. Well, in this paragraph, he says, I want to go to Achaia, and Achaia is this. This is Achaia, okay? He wants to go over here and preach over in Achaia. So does it sound like when Priscilla and Aquila told him the truth that he fought them about it? No, I don't believe you.
No.
No, I think he listened to them. Isn't that good?
Yes.
Mhm.
This could have been an adult fight. They wouldn't probably fight with fists and punches, but they would have said, no, I don't want to listen. No, I know the way. I know the truth. You, look down your nose. You are just a tent maker. And I'm Alexandrian. He didn't do that. And I really like Apollos about that. So he wants to go over to Achaia, and what does he do while he's there? He helped the believers through grace. He powerfully confuted or argued with the Jews, showing that by the scriptures that Jesus was the Christ. So Apollos went over there. Here's his mustache, and he's preaching a whole bunch. And what does he talk about? Jesus is Christ. And he has to have a preaching hand, because you can't preach without your preaching hand. At least not in my pictures anyways. I guess you're allowed to preach without a hand if you want to, but I like to draw the preaching hand. All right, so that's what he does, and he takes care of them, and they go out there. I want to read one more little bit. No, I think that's where we're going to end. We're going to end with that, okay? So in this lesson, a lot of what we did was talking about all the different places. That's really what we focused on. We just looked at all these different places. Do you feel like you can kind of draw the map on your own now? Are you getting a better sense for it? I tried to draw a little
No.
detail. There's a little bit of land in here, and there's a little bit of land up there, but basically there's this box, and then this wall, and a lower part, and then there's a spot down here. Okay? And so Paul is spending a lot of time up in here. He visited all these places before, and then he goes back down, and he does it again. And he's going to kind of do those loops for a while. And then there's this guy, Apollos from Alexandria. He's traveling a whole bunch too. And don't forget Priscilla and Aquila, they were here and then they went over to Ephesus, and they were originally from Rome, which is so far away it doesn't even fit on this map. So what really surprises me in the book of Acts, people were going all over the place. They were just moving and traveling and doing stuff. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And we got to remember the story of Apollos, the super smart guy. But who did he need to listen to?
Tent makers.
He needed to
Well,
listen
I'm
to tent makers. Because do you have to be a university student to be wise?
No.
No.
If you want to be wise in the scriptures, what do you need to do?
Study the scriptures.
Yeah. Can you guys read?
Yeah.
Have you read the
Yes.
Bible before? Have you read parts of the Bible?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Have you memorized Bible verses before?
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh,
Aren't we doing a class where
yes.
we're reading through the text and taking notes with pictures?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
So I guess that's what you guys are already doing. You're already getting wise in the scriptures. That's really cool. That's really cool. All right, do you guys have any questions before we close?
No.
All right. With
Wait.
that enthusiastic no, I will see you later. Bye.
Thank you.